Hi everybody, I'm Zilla Blitz and welcome to episode 3 in our attempt to get the Blood Eagle achievement with Crusader Kings 3. Now this is a beginner-friendly series. We're going to kind of over-explain a lot of our thinking and our moves and our analysis as we move forward. In the first 2 episodes, we basically spent all of our time preparing to start the time moving forward. So now it's finally a time for action. We are going to war and to start the events of history moving forward. Let's jump right in and get started. We've fired up our world here. We're back as Jarl Bjorn Ironside of Uppland. We can see him on the left, and here is our land of Uppland right now. We've got a couple of wars that are going to trigger as soon as we start time moving forward. But just as a quick recap, our objective here as the Blood Eagle achievement is to conquer Britannia. And we're going to try it using this Varangian Adventure, which is, I'm not sure, again, this is the most optimal strategy to do this. I just want to try it because I think it's going to be fun. We're going to eventually declare war against one of these Britannia lands. And the Varangian Adventure lets us declare war, and if we defeat them, we move our entire land. We give up our homeland, move our capital and all its people to this new land in Britannia, and that's where we're going to start over from. I don't think this is probably the optimal way to do this. I can imagine there's going to be a lot of problems, but I think it's going to be fun to try. So that's our short-term objective. An even shorter term is we need to build up our fame a little bit, so we need to get some prestige going. And to that end, we're going to do 2 things. One is we've declared war against Medelpad here, which is a little bit to the north, and hopefully we can crush them. We're going to ignore our brothers over here in England who are actually already at war and dragged us into it. So we're just going to say yes. Well, we already said yes to them, but we're not going to go to war there. And then we are going to go on a hunt to try to kind of do a quick boost to prestige here in our own home country. So let's get time started. But before we do that, 2 little things. One is, if you're not familiar with the game, up the top here we can see a lot of notifications. You can see these cups. If we click on those, it's basically let us know that we could host a grand tournament if we want to. But they're very expensive. We have a lot better thing. We don't have enough money, one, and we have a lot better things we could spend money on at the moment. So I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to right click on that to make it go away. This one is we could do a tour of our kingdom, but likewise expensive, and we have better ways to spend money. So I'm going to right click on that. The last thing is you get this notification button with a number in it. This is pretty helpful to look through these because these tell you some ideas on things you could be doing, like giving us a list here of all the other 18 wars we could potentially declare right now. Some targets here for alliance negotiations, titles that can be created and things like that. So this is a good idea to keep an idea on this notification tab as things in the game progress. So those 2 things I wanted to mention. And now it is almost time for us to let loose time, finally. But the last thing we need to do is to raise all our armies to go fight this war up here against Medelpad. And I'm a little bit, if we just raise our armies right now, they're going to come up in our capital. And just to have them save their marching a little bit, I'm going to do one thing here, which is I'm going to create a rally point. And to do that, we click on the second button down, which is our military tab on the right. And then down at the bottom here, we can see rally points. And I'm going to click the little plus beside the red banner. And that opens up our land. And where I click is going to create another rally point. So if we zoom in here, we can see now we've created a rally point up here in the Hälsingland, which is right next to Medelpad. And that's just going to save us a little bit of time. We don't have to march all the way down here, all the way up to the north. In a case like this, it doesn't matter very much. But sometimes if you've got a bigger realm, you know, kind of having a rally point where you want your troops to start can save you a lot of marching around and can save a lot of time. The last thing we want to do too is we're going to plan our hunt and spend 70 gold to get this going to try to give us a short-term boost to our prestige. We could pick either falconry or hunt. The legendary one isn't available to us. Let's choose the regular one here. I'm going to skip the falconry. So we're going to click on this and let's go. We can click here to see what kind of options are available. Let's just go close, 1% chance of danger. So there are some options here for the hunt, including managed guest and then how many party size and elements like that. I'm going to leave these as the default for right now, but I do want to change the intent of the hunt from recreation to reduce stress to slay the beast. We definitely want to do that, and we'll confirm that. Over here, we can select guards, but if we're looking down here, dangers on the route, there really aren't any. We can see remaining dangers on the route 000. We could pick some caravan master and elements like this to help us with this. but this one looks pretty good. So I think we're just going to leave that the way it is and let us start that hunt. This will pop up a kind of menu screen. And in most of these here, it's going to be giving you choices as you go through. Right now, it just says, you know, we're making camp. And it doesn't give us any options on the right-hand side. It just says soon. So we don't have any choices here. Our immediate success chance is only 21%. And then this will progress as the hunt goes forward. We'll just click soon for right now to dismiss that. Those event pop-ups will happen, and basically they're kind of like a choose your own adventure element where you can read the impact and things. For right now, probably going to not dig into those too much because those events can take quite a bit of time as we go through them, but we'll talk about them as they kind of go forward. Let us now raise all our armies. Okay, so after telling people to raise the armies at the northern spot, I didn't click on raise them all up here. So some of our armies are going to be raised in the south and some are going to be raised in the north. We'll get it right next time. My apologies for that. But it is time to unloose time and let our armies gather here. So we can see we've got the wrong numbers up here. We're actually created an immediate problem for us because, oh, this was a marriage proposal from our courtier Bjorn. Yes, so these are some of our marriage proposals coming in from those marriage arrangements we made at the beginning. And we're just going to say excellent. Excellent, that's good. We're going to check to see how that impacts our court and potential options there. But for the moment, let's get these guys out of danger by coming down here. We're going to select our troops, just basically click on them, or you can click around and drag around them to select them all too. We're going to move them up to the north here. All right, so we clicked on our troops. We've got them. We're just going to join them together and then come up here and try to attack Middlepad. So a little bit of delay here as we had some execute order. And ideally what we wanted again was all of our troops to appear up north here. And so we could just go right in and attack. Because that does give them a chance to do things like form an alliance. And we want to try to hit them hard here. And probably a good thing to talk about now is to talk a little bit about war and how we're trying to win this war. The basic element to winning a war is there are kind of 3 ways to do it. Way number 1 is to defeat enemy forces. Way number 2 is to siege enemy lands. And then the third way is to, sometimes you can capture the enemy leader, just it's a little bit more by chance. But that's a third way to try to kind of win a war. And what we're going to try to do right now is to head north and try to siege their main holdings and try to wipe them out in battle. Those 2 options there. Now we can see also our hunt, as our war is going on, our hunt is also going on. And we've got a little event screen here that gives us some little descriptive text. And then we have some choices. And if we hover over each one of these choices, we can see what types of options the game is giving us and what the outcome could be for these different options. And this option we're getting right now, it basically says that a stout buck is nearby, but it's giving us options to seek either this stag here that they're kind of mentioning, or we could go after something more dangerous, which is a wolf, which our success chances decrease. Or instead of going after a stag, we could go after a bunny, and it says danger is harmless, prestige is trivial. We're going to stick with the stag here. That sounds pretty good. Peril is middling, and then the prestige is mediocre. That's fine for right now. And this will give us a little bit more of some progress here on the hunt. But for the moment, I'm just going to kind of X out of that as things go forward. And we want to start going with our troops here north to start engaging our enemies up here. So all our troops moving north. Let's actually just send them right to the neighboring lands here. And basically I'm just selecting and right-clicking where I want them to go, and then they're going to march there. What we didn't want to have happen is to have our 300 troops here get picked off first. And a hunt progresses too. One of the things about Crusader Kings 3 is that you do get used to event text and screens popping up as other things are going on. So this event here, basically we've run into some poachers who are hiding a stag behind them, and we have choices to like hang them here or take the animal and things. But this one here actually seems to be a pretty good choice for us. You all seem to be excellent bowmen. It gives us, it reduces the chance of a successful hunt a little bit, but it gives us this trait which is poacher training. And poacher training allows us to give prowess +2. So, and experience gain +10%. So that seems like a fairly good choice. So we'll pick that one there and move forward. So now let's get our troops going north, and I'll be back in touch as we get a little bit closer to war here. All right, so we've got our army here together, and we are marching across to Middlepad to try to take them out. Meanwhile, we're hunting too, So our hunt completely failed. The stag ran away, everything went sideways, and actually we didn't really get a very good amount of prestige off of that. I've had much more success with hunts in the past. That was probably one of the weakest ones I've had. In the meantime, our forces are engaging here in the Battle of Medelpad. If we click on the battle itself, we can see how things are going. We outnumber them 3-1, and we're rolling over here. The hunt now, we're going to leave the adventure behind. We gained only 187 prestige, but we are up to 800. So actually, it did turn out fairly well. Slightly increased the hunt trade experience. If we pause just for a second here, we can see we're actually pretty close to distinguished now. We're at 743 out of the 1,000. So we were at what, 400? Gained 343 prestige already. So we only need about 250 more to be able to launch that Varangian Adventure, at least from a prestige standpoint. But the Battle of Medelpad here is now over. We've defeated our enemy and wiped them out. And we can see down below here in this green element here that our war score has gone up to plus 50%. So we can see war score is plus 50%. We need to get it to 100% in order to win. But we've automatically defeated when we defeated the forces here, we automatically transitioned into sieging here, which is the Siege of Selanger. And it's got about 8 months left. So we're just going to kind of wait for time to go. And as this siege progresses, eventually Selanger should fall, and that should get us to 100%, because this is only one county. They've only got one land. Got some raiders coming down here. I don't know if they're going to try to mess with us or not. That would be kind of not the brightest thing here. Oh, they just went right through us. Okay. Well, so we're going to let time progress here. We're going to let our siege go through, and we're now up to 797 prestige because we won that battle. So about 200 more prestige to go, and we should reach distinguished, which will unlock that that next event there, which is the Varangian Adventure here, which we could do to launch against our enemies in England. So that force that went by us, those are raiders, and we can see they are sieging one of our towns. But I don't want to give up the siege here to the north until we win the war here. So we're going to just let them run rampant on our lands for a while, but hopefully we can track them down and put them to misery later. Oh, they're off now. Oh well, what can you do? More raiders coming. What the heck? Vikings apparently like to raid up here. If you recall in the last episode, as we're going to pause in the middle of sieging here, but if you recall in the last episode, we talked about using marriages to improve some of our courtiers and then maybe assign new people to council positions, as well as perhaps get in a potential court physician. And those people have all arrived now in our court from those marriages that we set up. And if we click on these rotating arrows here beside our council, so I've opened up our council here, which is the third button down on the third tab on the right here. And we have Hufgudi Budli, who is currently rated at a 10 for learning, which isn't very great. But the two people that we came in that we married that had really good learning here, this Malmfreer has a rating of 19. So we are going to switch her off. We're going to fire our current counselor. He's not going to be happy about it. But we've almost doubled the aptitude of our Hufgudi here, our head priest. Likewise, if we come down here to our spy master, who is a 14, and we go to Sif, who is another person that we brought in as for marriage, she has a 25, which is just really sharp. So we are going to fire our current counselor and replace spy master here and replace him with her, which brings us up to a 25. Now, the people who got fired are not going to be happy about it, but I'm willing to pay that price for those gains right now. And then lastly, if we click on the fourth button down here, which is the courtiers button on the right-hand side, we had talked about getting a court physician in, and we have Hufgudi Malmfreyer, who we just appointed to our head priestess here. But Alvor is also an average aptitude now and has a skill of 17, and we'll pick her and appoint her as our court physician. So now we've got an average court physician, we've got a better head priest, and then we've got a much, much better spy master. So we've improved our lands a little bit here. I mean, the people who got fired from those council positions will not be happy about it, but a little bit better position now. Let's get back to sieging our enemies. So our siege now of Medelpad here, the headland here, is down to about just a couple weeks left. This is going to complete it, and this should give us victory in this war here. Something goes sideways right away, but So far, so good. There it is. So I'm going to pause the game here for a moment. We can see that down below, our war score in the bottom right has gone up to plus 100%. So I'm going to click on that. And these give us a lot of options, but basically we're going to gain some fame. We are going to share any fame with our allies, but we don't have any. Our vassals gain some benefit. And then we are going to get control over the contested titles and lands. So I'm going to click the big button here, which says enforce our demands. And it is victory for us. So our son, as Marshal, leads us to the first victory here. We gained 75 fame, so be it. And we can see now that Medelpad has kind of been absorbed into Uppland here, and it is now ours. So, and we'll see that our brothers here on the bottom right, we can see plus 16%. If we click on that, you can see that our brother here, who's Jarl Halfdan, in us, we're technically their allies, but we're not really doing anything to help them because we kind of want to let them get weaker as they go forward. He is plus 16% in his war, so it's slightly going in his favor. But let's let time run. We'll go see if we can chase these raiders down, and we'll drive on from there. So we're chasing down the raiders, but they vanished into the night. So we have our army just kind of hanging out here. Now that the war is over, we want to disband them because we don't want to pay their maintenance costs, and they have served their purpose for the moment here. So I'm going to click on the military tab, which is the second one down on the right. Then I'm going to click on disband all. Click on disband all, and our army vanishes. Everybody goes home, back to their farming, and that war has been done. Now, we did abandon here this other war. We probably should have actually left them raised so we could at least pretend to be helping our brothers. But for the moment, I want to disband them because we have more wars to fight. Up here, Ångermanland, they only have a military force of 310. So with our armies unraised, we can declare war. If our armies are raised, we cannot declare war. So we needed to disband them before we could declare war again. Just pausing between wars now, one thing we got a notification for is we can negotiate an alliance with our brother, Jarl Halfdan. And I'm thinking negotiating an alliance with one of our brothers is probably a good idea if we can do it. So I click on that notification, then I select here. If I right-click on him, we get 5 more options. Pick the Negotiate Alliance option, and he will just barely accept this. It says +2. So I think this would be a good thing. He's the weaker brother, too. So I think by negotiating an alliance with the weaker brother, we can team up on our stronger brother, take him out, and then we'll only have one brother to eventually deal with. So this is kind of long-term planning. Not really sure if it's going to work, but we're going to click on Negotiate Alliance and see if he'll accept that. He's the one actually, technically, we're already at war on the same side with in this war against England here. Now, the next thing that we want to do, Ångermanland up here only has a military force of 310. So we are going to right-click and declare war. We're going to try to conquer this county here, the chiefdom of Ångermanland. It only costs us 45 piety. We've got 283. Down below, we can see the piety cost here, which is 45, and that's what it costs for tribal Norse tribes to do this. Piety up here is 283 in the top, so we've got plenty to do that. We will declare war. We have declared war on Chieftain Sverker, and let's get busy. This is a lather, rinse, repeat thing. We're going to see if we can take this land as well. So this time I'm going to try to get the raising armies correct and try to not have them all be scattered all over the place. So, like I did last time, I've created a rally point here in Medelpad, our new land, and then I'm going to click on that rally point and say, raise all here. And that will bring everybody in right next to them, so we don't have to march all over the land trying to assemble our troops, because we can see now they've only started to appear up here. If we let time roll forward, we should very shortly have over 1,000 troops. And yes, our brother has accepted our alliance. Marvelous news. This is good news. This is interesting, a Norse-Gaul hybridization. So basically, from the Norse influence in Britannia over the years, we've now got a Norse-Gael culture, which is kind of a hybrid of the original Norse culture and the Gaelic culture. So that's interesting, because that may have some implications as things go forward. And our brother here, the one who we are not allied with, Chieftain Ivar, the Boneless of the Isles, who's our strongest brother right now and the youngest and probably the most dangerous, is the leader of this cultural awakening. So he's formed that culture there. But anyway, let's get back to assembling our armies here and see if we can go kick some butt here in Ångermanland. Lots of good things happening fast now. First of all, our Marshal Ariker's been showing off a promising new recruit. So this guy has showed up, Yatvaror, And he indeed is promising a prowess of 20, martial of 18. He shall serve me. We're going to have him come into our court. Our brother has won his war against the petty king Ella Olwulfsson of Northumbria. So be it. And I think that might give us enough fame. No, we're still not distinguished. Let's go see, just take a quick look and see what Britannia looks like now. Oh, Jorvik has gotten so much bigger here. That's not good. We need places to live here when we get here. I'm trying to think who we might be able to take on. But if our brother is allied with us now, and we were to declare war on Mercia or do that, can we do that? We can't because we're already at war. But if the thought is maybe we can try to take Mercia here as that Varangian Adventure, boy, that would be a big chunk of land to get. If we could get our brother helping us out, that might work. And then we'd have a whole big chunk of Britannia in the middle to start with. But we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, although it almost is time to think about making that move to Britannia, I think. We're not going to waste too much time. So we've raised 1,500 troops, and Angermanland has been only able to raise 68. So that's going to be a pretty quick battle here. Yeah, 1,500. Yep, we won that battle pretty easily. And now we are sieging Solatumen here with 8 months left. And this should go pretty quickly, which will give us another added segment of Uppland here. Just pausing here with another kind of little tidbit of information. We can see that we've got a rival imprisoned and we've kind of enemy combatants captured. So one way to make money fairly quickly and well in the game is to ransom off those prisoners that you capture. And they show up, interestingly enough, on the Courtiers tab. So if we click the Courtiers tab, we have 3 tabs at the top: Court Positions, your Courtiers, and then Prisoners. This shows us the people that are imprisoned. And this right here, Deary, it shows we can right-click on him to ransom. And if we ransom off, we will get a weak hook. It's not really all that great, but he's not really worth much. Oh, that's fine. We'll just do that. We'll take that. Down here also we can, there's a button underneath the character itself to ransom them here. Boy, we don't get any money out of this, but we'll take that. The last one here though, this guy, Skarphedin here, has a prowess of 22. And I wonder if we can negotiate his release and recruit. He will accept it, and we get a weak hook on him too. And a hook basically is you can kind of convince people to do things they normally wouldn't want to do. And the game will track that for us. So we're going to actually recruit him because I want him to be a knight for us. So we're going to negotiate that release and see how this all works out. But prisoners can be a viable source of courtiers and cash and hooks and all kinds of things like that. Let's let the siege continue here in Angermanland, and things will progressing nicely. I also want to take a moment now while we're in mid-siege here to take a look at how our knight situation is doing, because if you recall, we went down and on the decisions action, we selected the option to recruit champions. So let's see if we've had any luck with that, and we'll take a look at some of the other situations. So I'm clicking on the military tab, the second one down, then clicking on champions, and we can see here already Skarphedin, who was the prisoner that we now recruited to our court, is our best knight with a knight of 22, and we are going to force him to be a knight. He's pretty neutral towards us, a 0 if we look at his opinion of us, but he's now a knight for us, and we'll eventually win him over. And that Yatvorer was the event knight. He's a 20, and he likes us, so we're going to force him to be a knight too. And we can see now we have some guests here. This Simunder, this is probably one of the guys who showed up when we were recruiting him. He would be our 3rd best knight. So I'm going to click on Recruit to Court. We're going to have to pay 18 gold. That's fine. We'll do that. And now he is going to be a knight too, and we want to force him to be a knight. Sturbjorn would be a good one as well. This Vigus here, he's not all that great. But yeah, we've got some, we've definitely improved our potential knight pool here. Let's get this 17 here. Sturbjorn looks pretty good. We'll pay 10 gold to get him in. And now our knights, with the event trigger to bring one in, with capturing and releasing and recruiting that prisoner, that's 2, and we got 2 that we brought in with the invite claimants there. You know, our lowest knight now is prowess of what, 16, 15 or so, which is pretty good. Actually, we're forcing our son to be a knight, but so far he's not died. He's doing pretty well. He's way down here at the prowess of 6, His prowess hasn't got anybody. He really likes us too. He's plus 100 towards us. So that's awesome. But anyway, yeah, so our knights have gotten better, which is helpful here. Let's continue the siege of Angermunland and see if we can take them out. Solatumum is just about ready to fall. Oh, our mother died. Oh, that's sad. She was 66. Pretty good long lives there. Things happen though. But Solatumum here is ours. 100% war score. So I'm going to click on the war score again. We are going to enforce our demands, and we have added, just clicking through the buttons, our glory is widely known. Pause real quick here. With our glory widely known, we have reached now the distinguished level of fame. That was enough. That victory got us there. So we will disband all of our armies here because the war is over, and our Uppland here has expanded a little bit, and we should now be able to... Yes, advice. Varangian Adventures. Look at that. This little advice tip at the top. You're able to start a Varangian Adventure. Open this to learn more about the special kind of war. Yeah, that didn't tell us anything we already knew. It just said we're going to leave behind all of our existing vassals and things like that in our own lands here. But, again, this is probably not the best strategy for this. But I think we want to try it anyway. So I'm going to kind of ponder around here. We'll take a look at some kind of a potential target in England that we might be able to take on. But before we start dealing with that, actually, we have one thing that we want to address fairly quickly. We now can see that Uppland has gotten bigger, and we've captured these two counties to the north here. In the very top right of the screen, we can see that if we hover over here, it says domain 5 out of 4 holdings. And this is basically every leader we mentioned has a capacity based on their stewardship value as to how many counties or lands they can rule over at any one point in time efficiently. We've gone past our limit. We're at 5 out of 4, and this creates all kinds of negative effects on your ability to lead your kingdom. So we want to fix this, and the way we're going to fix it is by giving away control of one of the new counties that we've captured to a vassal. So we'll pick Angermunland here. And if we click on that county on the head ruling here, we can see Grant 2 in the bottom right-hand corner. So we're going to click Grant 2, and it pulls up a list of people we can potentially give this to. And what we're looking for, this is where these traits come in handy. As a general rule, there can be a lot of other factors in here, but as a general rule, at a simple level, you're looking to give it to someone who is content and has characteristics that aren't going to be ambitious and deceitful and all these kinds of things. This guy down here, Andres, who was I think the court physician guy that we captured at one point here, he's got just an impatient, that's okay, content though. This will work fine because I think this isn't going to matter too much now because we're going to give away. So we're granting the title to him. We're going to be leaving, so I'm not quite sure how much of an impact that's going to have as things go forward. But we can see now in the top right that our domain holdings are now 4 out of 4. So we're not managing so many lands, and we've given one away to our new vassal to manage that. So Uppland here is back and stable. And now it's time to go see if we might be able to invade Britannia straight away. All right, so kind of looking at the situation in Britannia here, I would love to get the largest land we could possibly get. Like, I think if we attack here something like East Anglia that just has these 3 counties, we're not really setting ourselves up for long-term success right away. Mercia here has a bunch of nice juicy counties and well-developed bunch of counties here. It has a military strength right now of almost 1,700 troops, which is equal to our military strength. But if we add in our allies, a brother here who has 5,500 troops, 5,400 troops, we are in a pretty nice military situation. Now, this is dependent upon them participating and helping us in the war. Right now they're off raiding, but hopefully they'll swing by and help us. Mercia also, if we look at this and we kind of take a look at their military strength in detail, they have some mercenaries. So those are not really replenishable, and they may run out of their contract soon. So I think this might be as good a time as any to try our Varangian Adventure. We also have the bonus plus of we're going to get some extra troops that it talks about. I don't know how many it will be, but hopefully they'll be able to help us too. A lot of things can go sideways here, but it's time. we're going to declare war of Varangian Adventure against Mercia. Now, what can we do here? The Jarldom, choose an objective. Oh, we can only choose one chunk of it here? Yeah, we want the petty kingdom of Mercia. That's what we want, right? We don't want that. We want right here, this whole chunk in the middle. Looks like we don't get this other part. Okay, you gain these contested titles. That's fine. That would be good. And we have an ally right next to us. Costs us 500 prestige, which is barely what we've got. Hopefully that will leave us enough to call our brother in. Usually it's about 150 prestige to call a brother in. Oh, let's just do it. Okay. You've gained an army of 2,000 men in Uppland. Oh, nice. They're giving us 2,000 extra men. Perfect. Declared war on Petty King Burgred. Okay, we got to get going here. We want to get our allies involved here as well. Let's right-click now. Let's get Jorvik here. And we want him call to war. He's going to accept. He likes us a lot. Excellent. So we are calling him to war. Our allies are here. We've got 2,000 troops there. Is that it? Can't we raise all our armies as well? Or is that all it's giving us? Yeah, raise all armies too. We want to do that too. So we're going to raise all of our own armies plus the 2,000 adventurers there. Let's see if we get them going here. Nice. So we have up here 3,600 troops. Excellent. We're going to select them all by clicking and dragging over them. And let's go right for their capital here, which looks to be the Barony of Warwick. We are off. It's going to take us a while to get here. We've got a long ocean voyage here to make our way here. My dear brother, of course, I shall join you in this war. Yes, they shall learn to fear everything here. We are on our way. They've raised 4,000 troops. They have 2,000 troops. This is going to be a big war. This is going to be fun. I don't know what they're doing right now. Hopefully they're not coming to sea to join us, because we're coming over, guys. Hang on. All right. Well, we'll let this play out a little bit, and we'll see how things go. Ah, brothers, no, come back. We're coming to England. Don't. What are you doing? Don't come to Uppland. You're going the wrong way, guys. Come back. What are they doing? Well, we have 900 allies down here, too. I don't know where the enemy is, but we are almost there. I don't know where their troops are, but there they are. This is... yeah, enemy. This is an enemy army here. Let's get all our troops in one spot for the moment. Maybe we'll join them together here. So our first siege here is on the Barony of Warwick. It seems to be going well. Oh, enemy troops are up here fighting our allies to the north and beating them. But wearing them down here. We might have to come up and help them. Yeah, they have 1,400 troops left. 1,800 troops left. What's going on here? It's turning side. 2,000 troops left. Let's get this. Let's siege here first, and then we'll go take them on. Because this siege will swing it to our favor here. 5 months left. And it will be their capital, which will be a good one to get. So 15 days left in the siege of Warwick. This should twist the battle score to our favor. Oh, look at that! What a stroke of good fortune. I remembered I mentioned a little while ago that you can sometimes capture the leader in a siege, and that can twist the war score in your favor. So we successfully sieged and captured the capital of Warwick, but we also took Petty King Burgred's son, heir, and son of Pussy during the siege of Warwick. That gets us immediately to 100%, because we captured him as well. Yeah, we've captured the leader as well. Awesome! So that worked pretty well. So let's see what happens here as we enforce our demands. So we are going to gain the contested titles. We gain all of these lands, and let's see how this works. So be it. We've got that. Yep, that's fine. We gain 50, increase your legitimacy to rightful ruler. We are going to, for the moment here, disband all, because the war is over. And this now is our new land. And our domain holdings are 8 out of 4. Yeah, so this is where we used to rule. Are we still here? No, we're not. We're not in charge of Uppland anymore, right? Yeah, it's gone. So this is our former kingdom. It's been all fractured and broken up amongst all these different people. Now it's time to sort out our new kingdom. How many troops do we have? 2,800. Wow. Oh, it's giving us allies. That's our allies' military space. Special soldiers. Oh, it still has our Varangian veteran. Our special soldiers are still with us. So we definitely need to build up our holdings here. So we have so many problems that we want to solve. First up, if we'll look back up in the top right corner, we can see our domain limit is 8 out of 4 because this duchy here, Intermercier, has 8 counties in it. It's huge, which is great, but we can only manage 4 of them. Now, I want to show one quick thing here that we didn't talk about in the last time, which is a trait of your wife. Instead of just assisting the ruler in general, you can have her characteristic from only one of those areas influence you at a much higher degree. So we're going to have her help us manage the domain, which is going to give our stewardship +7, but we're going to lose the bonuses for the other 4 attributes. But that's fine for right now because we're having her help manage the domain, and you can see now that what's happened is our domain limit's gone from 8 out of 4 to 8 out of 5. So because she's helping us, we can manage 1 more county, which will allow us to keep 5 counties under our direct control. The second thing here is that it's put the capital. We can see this little crown on Hereford down here. Put the capital on Hereford. But if we look at the development here to kind of say which county would we like the capital to be, we can see here Warwickshire has a development of 8. And this is actually the de jure county capital. So we're going to click on this and to pull up the county area here. And then right beside Warwick in the bottom left, we can see this gold arrow with an arrow towards it. And it says move realm capital here. So we are going to do that. And now we've made Warwickshire our capital. And so that gives us a county with better kind of development and should be a good center from which we can build off of. So that solves a couple of issues. We can see on the whole, we want to try to keep the best 5 counties and give the other 3 away to our vassals so we get under our domain limit. We also have a lot of other things that have happened. In our council, we've lost our chancellor and our steward. We left them behind in Sweden, so we have to get new chancellors and new stewards. We're going to have to give away some of our counties to vassals. I'm going to do all of those things now based on kind of the decision-making tree that we've talked about before. So I'm going to sort those out, and then we're going to start thinking about what our next steps might be. But one of the biggest issues right now is if we look at county control, so we select the plus sign to give us a different view of the map. And that's, by the way, that's how I got to the development view of the map here, is this plus sign and then selected development in the bottom right. That shows us the development level of every county in the planet. And the higher the development level, the better advanced and the people are and the culture and the technology is. So we want to, that's something we want to keep in mind as we're trying to think about which counties we want to keep and which ones we want to give away. Also, though, if we look at culture here, religion here, we can see that we are in the middle of a Catholic realm and we are Asatru, so it's got liege's faith is Asatru, but they do not like us because our religion is different. And also our culture is not Anglo-Saxon. So we're going to have to start spreading the Asatru religion and the Norse culture here to Britannia. It'd be kind of fun to turn all of Britannia into a Norse bastion here. That might be one of our ultimate goals too. But so lots of things. And control, if we look at, so if we click on the plus here and then select the county control option and then hover over these, we can see there's only 50 out of 100 in Warwickshire, 75 in most of these other places, which is better than I thought it might be. 50 over here in Herefordshire. So we could very easily see some rebellions foment here. So we want to try to try the best we can. We want to try to take care of increasing county control here. That's why we picked that on our under the martial element here. We picked the authority focus because it gives us control growth bonus. So I'm hopeful that will help us as we go forward in kind of keeping control of this place quickly, because we don't want to lose control of it into a rebellion. But for the moment, let's take care of kind of the logistic elements. I'm going to give away our counties that we need to give away. We'll give away 3 of those. We'll sort through our council positions, take a look at what's left, and then we'll think about our next plans. An interesting choice we've got as we're kind of planning all these things out is to raise a runestone here. We're going to gain some piety, some prestige, and some legitimacy. It costs us 50 gold, but we have 517 after this war, so let's do that. And so we're going to create a runestone here, and what shall this monument speak of? Yeah, I think we're going to make a runestone here of our conquered enemy here, Earl Burgred here, perhaps my vanquished foe. Excellent. So now that I've decided what to put on my runestone, the question remains where to put it. Well, I think we should put it in our capital here, Warwickshire, of course, right? So that makes the most sense. Let's do that. And it is there. Excellent. And so we've done a bunch of things now in addition to that. I've filled out our council positions with, actually, interestingly enough, the people that we picked up in those, the guests that came in and some of our vassals and knights and things. So we've strengthened, we've given away 3 of our counties. We've, Warwickshire again is now our capital. We're also doing 3 things in Warwickshire. One is we are having our marshal come in, who is our son, probably not very effective at it, but he's increasing county control in Warwickshire. So this is one of his 3 jobs that he's got available right now. We're having him increase the control. That will accelerate the control of Warwick to us, which is going to be helpful because we really need to get control of these lands before everybody revolts. We're not gaining any taxes or anything like that, and we need to increase our levies and build up our forces. This is a very weak, I think, and precarious position for us. Likewise, I've changed our steward over here to increasing development in county. So development growth in Warwick, we're going to try to boost up there. We're having our head priest here try to convert the faith of the county here in Warwickshire. So we're going to try to make them Asatru and spread the Asatru religion throughout Britannia. And then other than that, things kind of the same right now. I think we are ready to let time go forward for the moment. I'm sure there's a couple of other things that we're not doing that we might need to do. The other question is, can we quickly perhaps grow and take some more lands? It would be nice to get the Kingdom of England here, but that's going to be a stretch. What do we need to get the Kingdom of England? We need 35% of the de jure counties. We have 50, which is 15. We have 8 right now. We need 2 duchy titles. So we only need 7 more counties, which isn't, incredibly bad. We're off to a pretty good start by getting this really nice duchy here in the middle of England. So that's pretty good. But so the successful Varangian Adventure, and I think with that I'm going to stop here for now. We've moved from Sweden, Scandinavia, left our fractured realm behind us, captured Mercia, taken control. We are a stranger in a strange land. Leaving all of our vassals behind. It's time to rebuild and hopefully not get crushed in the interim here. We'll see how things go. It only took us about 2.5 years to do this. So that went much more quickly than I thought. But this next, I think, 2 or 3 years is going to be a little bit dangerous. I am hopeful we can perhaps pick off some of these independent counties here that are off to the side and kind of weak. So we're looking at like Derby here. I don't know why that there. If we look at here, yeah, they only have 175 troops. So vastly inferior to us without any alliances at the moment. So maybe we can kind of gobble these up pretty quickly here. Another Earl here, only 212 troops. We should, yeah, I think that's our next step, is to spread here. Try to take Derby up here, what is it, Cheshire, and then down here, Bedford here. Those are fractured thing, I think, left over from the previous realm. Those would be nice to get. Lindsay here is also, looks like it's, this is the guy we just beat. So I don't know if we can declare war on him. No, we've got a truce, right? Yeah, we'll break the truce. Can we declare war here too? Just kind of rambling on here. Yeah, we can declare war against the other ones, but we've left this guy that we defeated a small land to rule of his own. But yeah, so we did it. We moved. The Varangian Adventure was successful. Let me know if you've got tips and ideas on what we should do next. I do think we might be able to hop over here to Ireland, pick off some of these individual counties in Ireland, building up our strength over here, perhaps even going for the Kingdom of Ireland before we try to mess too much with England. But we're in the thick of things now. I'll see you in the next episode. I'll put a link to it as soon as it's ready.